Hello and welcome to a short pause. We're here to bring some news and updates on our lives and what's going on and give you some of the news that's happening currently. So I'm here with Sash. Hey, Sash.
Hi, Nat.
How are you? Are you good?
I'm all right, thank you. I think I say this every time because we're recording on a Friday, but yeah, glad it's Friday. Happy Friday. It's the weekend.
It is the weekend. Have you got anything nice planned at all?
I'm going to see my mom this weekend and spend some time with her doggies, Prince and King. She has 2 chihuahuas, and also see my sister because it's her birthday soon, and my niece. And yeah, my sister's got a dog as well. So taking Betty with me and be
Nice.
a doggy and mum weekend.
Doggy and girly weekend.
A girly weekend, yeah, that's a good way of saying it. Yeah, what about you?
Nothing really planned this weekend, maybe a bit of DIY because we're coming to see you next week.
Yes.
Exciting. We'll tell everybody more about that at the end of the episode. But yeah, me and Sash are going to be in person, which will be ace.
Yeah, that'll be fun, won't it? We can get together around my table, make some tea, have some cake and record a podcast.
Have a giggle. So we're here today to talk about some of the news stories. Should I go first, Sash, and tell?
Yeah, what have you seen in the news, Nat?
So there was a really interesting one, which I thought was pretty good, actually, progressive. So it's about Italy, actually. So again, news from around the world. So in Italy, they allow employees to use paid leave for seriously ill pets, which is amazing. So like treating them a bit like close family members. So there's stipulations around this, but it mainly comes from the fact that in 2017 they had a change in the law where people had to be legally responsible for any animal and that it wasn't in any grave suffering. So to allow people to meet that duty, they obviously then had to provide extra allowances for people to take care of their pets and not allow them to suffer. This law's has been around for a while, but it's kind of gained a little bit of momentum because they've clarified what's actually allowed within the laws and what employers should be offering. But to qualify for it, people still need to show that they've got a vet certificate to say that the animal was seriously poorly or needs urgent care, and it's not just a routine thing. And they have to go through the same kind of mechanisms of their employees' kind of leave policies and stuff. But to me, it just makes so much sense. I mean, it obviously is supported by the fact that they've got this law in place to ensure that your pets aren't suffering. And it brings me back to something we talked about a couple of weeks ago where it was about not leaving animals alone for more than 12 hours, I think it was. So, if that's the part of a legal requirement, and then your business, your work requires you to be at work in an office all day, there's got to be some work. There's got to be some wiggle room to allow owners to support their pets in the best way. So this is great because we know we've been through a loss of pets. We've had times where our animals have been quite poorly and it's a distraction. You're worried. You also need to go to the vets and get an appointment. So I think this is quite a lovely progressive way to bring pets into the family a bit more and recognise their importance. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I just wish something like this was available in the UK because, as you know, at the minute I'm sort of supporting Betty with some of the challenges that she's facing, and that does require a weekly trip to physio, which it takes time to get there. Then you have the appointment, and then next week she's off to see a neurologist at the Royal Veterinary College, and that's just outside of London, and I have no annual leave left, and I'm trying to figure out at the moment how I'm going to wangle that and how I'm going to do it because I can't neglect her, and I have to take her because I could just say, I've not got enough time, or it's too far away. But I'm not going to do that. I need to make sure that she gets the right care and she sees the right specialist. And I was thinking maybe I should email our HR director and just say, actually, could we consider this? Because people have time out when they have to take the children to hospital or to the doctors. But for pets, and it's a huge commitment, and it, like you say, there's an emotional toll as well. So it can be really draining. And I think if your employer is quite demanding and you can't take that time out, how are you going to do it? Because most vets aren't open on an evening. And even my vet now closes on a Saturday and Sunday. So All vet appointments have to be Monday to Friday, kind of 9 to 5.
Yeah, yeah. I know. And it's interesting because this Italian thing, it was animal welfare groups that pushed for like the clarification around this. And I think that could easily happen in other countries because the recognition of the importance of animals and the needs of animals and your animal companion, it is becoming more prevalent throughout different countries. And you know, so there does need to be some movement within other restrictions on life in terms of work and other things you've got to do. Then it needs to budge a little bit as well.
Yeah, we need to budget here in the UK, I think. We need to budge.
Yeah,
That's the word of today. We need to move the dial. We need to be more progressive.
Yeah.
Let's start some movement, Nat. Let's
see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
The other story I was going to tell you about was cat-based. It's a bit more of a serious topic, but I'm not going to sort of preach too much about it. But it's about kitten breeding in the UK because it apparently is on quite a high at the moment. And a few months ago, I did a reading of the Cats Protection's stats report. It's called Cats and Their Stats Report from 2025. And they spoke to over 10,000 people. Obviously, they're not all registered with the Cats Protection. They're from various different walks of life. But they noted that neutering rates are falling, and it's driven mainly by younger, affluent pedigree cat owners who want to have a litter of kittens. And that's all very sweet and cute. And I always wanted a litter of kittens, but practical things never kind of worked out for me. I just thought, actually, I can't do it. Plus, I could never give them up. I could never get rid of a litter of kittens. Oh, but so sort of these more affluent younger people are sort of having litters. I don't know for what reasons. I'd love to look into that actually. But what's happening is that obviously there's more kittens now not being adopted by other people. So the RSPCA have said that they've seen a 72% increase in the care of cats in this last year. So this is 1,400 at the end of the year as opposed to only 800 in the last 4 years. So it's almost doubled.
Wow.
And that's really concerning because we talked last time about the adopt, don't shop. So, you know, it's lovely having a litter of kittens, but think about perhaps, you know, where they're going to be homed and the fact that there's lots of them that don't have homes and what happens to them. They don't want to be living in small pens in shelters. That's just not fair. But just to help with people think about this, I remember there's been an old wives' tale about breeding and people used to say, well, they've got to have one litter, it's healthy for them. And that's a myth. Spaying helps with things like infections, cuts all kinds of problems and helps with disease. And it also helps them remain calm and kind of keeps them with longer, healthier lives. So it is a positive with animals to have them neutered and get them neutered quite early on. Because I've been on socials recently and I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding of when to neuter, and you can neuter them at quite a young age. I'm not sure of the technical details, but cats can have litters at very young age. So I'll leave people to think about that and just see how they feel about it. But it's something to bear in mind, and just think about kind of where your kittens are going. I mean, interestingly, people aren't, the general feeling is that people aren't selling them, so it's not for money. It's I think it's just because kittens are cute and they want their cats to have a litter of kittens. I don't know, but
yeah, it's interesting actually. I once worked with a lady who had a cat who was due to give birth, and you know, her view was, I'd really love my cat to have the chance to be a mom at least once.
Oh, interesting.
And I thought, I don't know, I just thought that was an interesting take, and I just thought, is that more about you wanting to be a mom to some kittens? Because I can see why. I'm not judging. I could definitely see why someone would feel like that. But yeah, interesting on the age of neutering. I if someone asked me for dogs or cats, I probably wouldn't know. So it is good to know that you can do it a lot earlier in their lives.
I've just had a look actually just to kind of make sure we are accurate. It's around 4 months old. Okay. So, you know, I think a lot of people adopt or get a kitten quite young at maybe 13 weeks. So, you know, you're pretty much on the path to getting them neutered once you've got them in your care. So do think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Wise
so
words.
What about you, Sash? What about you? What news have you found?
So there's a couple of things that have jumped out to me this week. 2 quick doggy updates. So this week in England and Wales, owners whose dogs attack or chase livestock could face an unlimited fine. So sounds like that's a positive step, because I often see sort of dogs in fields on countryside walks just kind of running about and chasing stuff. And I always think, why is that okay? So,
yeah, I mean, obviously you want your dog to be able to run around, but think about poor sheep and other wildlife that's out there.
Yeah, bless them. And then in Wales, the Parliament has voted to ban greyhound racing due to animal welfare concerns. So
I read that. It's amazing news. Yeah. Great.
Seems like it's a long time coming. So, yeah.
There's lots of, old retired greyhounds that, again, need rehoming, and we need to do better to take care of those animals. They're not just for our pleasure. No. That's how I feel anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. So they were the two kind of things that just jumped out as positive steps in terms of protecting animals. And then the main one really is about the war in the Middle East and some of the pets, particularly in Dubai, cats and dogs being left behind, as many expats, many of them British expats, are rapidly leaving. And yeah, I mean, I think the war in the Middle East just seems to dominate the headlines at the moment. So just reading about that is quite sad.
Hard enough,
Hard enough, yeah. And as the Iran war escalates, I think, there's lots of pets being abandoned and overwhelming local animal charities in Dubai. So they are really becoming the hidden victims of the conflict, which you don't hear as much about on the news, but there's definitely coverage to sort of say well-loved pets that have been microchipped and have families are just left behind because the families have disappeared.
Well, that's
heartbreaking. The situations, exactly. It's reported it's really heartbreaking and frightening for the animals left behind.
God.
And yeah, often animals are hidden casualties of war. I think even in this country during sort of the World Wars, there was abandoned pets.
Really?
As people got killed.
Well, obviously, yeah. It's interesting because when the Ukraine war kicked off, I mean, that affected me for various reasons, but I remember seeing people crossing borders with cat carry cases, and I was just like, oh my God. Like, it's gorgeous that they've taken them with them, but the heartbreak of knowing of how many may be left behind. Oh.
Yeah, and there's there are charities in Dubai that are trying to help. So there's Canine Friends, there's Dubai Street Kitties, there's Six Hound Sanctuary, but it's reported that they're all saying that they're already full. So yeah, apparently around 45,000 British nationals have left the Middle East since the 1st of March, and there have been evacuation flights, but there is an agreement with the UAE and the UK that pets can return without quarantine.
Okay, that's
so
good.
That you can come back with them. I guess you just have to then sort out the flights. And there's also in Dubai itself, I think they've installed 12 AI-powered feeding stations, is what it said, across the city. So it just breaks my heart, the idea there's lots of pets roaming around, dogs and cats.
I mean, flip me. Like, Dubai is rolling in cash. This is what annoys me, though. I'm going to go on a little mini rant, everyone. Dubai is rolling in cash. They have got money coming out of their ears, and yet they can't take care of the animals that are left behind during times like this, when there's money out there going around, for sure.
Yeah, that's true, actually, because the sort of the charities that I mentioned there, I mean, there may be more, but it sounds like they are struggling to keep up because they're feeling overloaded, underfunded and understaffed.
Yeah.
So, we
probably shouldn't go too deep into that.
No, because I don't want to feel too sad.
Too political and too sad, yeah.
I mean, I get it. If you are living miles away, and you need to come back to the UK, it isn't that easy, and flights probably aren't
expensive.
That cheap.
No,
but yeah.
But it's good to know that there's that.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, what's good about it is that the government have that agreement, and that pets can go without quarantine, so that barrier is removed at least.
Yeah, that's good. It wants me I just want to hold on to Betty even tighter when I read stories like this, because I'm like, I never want to be parted from you.
I know.
My little Betty. I take her everywhere with me as it is, even holiday now in the UK, so that she can come with us. Which is great because I'm exploring lots of new places in the UK. But yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because the more and more I've been talking about pets and the more and more I've been doing stuff around with Murray and Weaver on socials, the more I'm becoming more and more attached to them. It's funny. They just like, yeah, it's gorgeous. Just like that little bond grows because you talk to them more and you talk about them more. It's cute. It's so cute.
I know I met someone the other day whose pet had passed away, and they had said we'd even bought a camper van so that we could go on holiday with our little dog. I mean, the dog sort of passed away very suddenly when it was about 5, so they hadn't expected it. But yeah, they were like, we just want to spend all our time with our dog and we want to holiday with it, so we bought this camper van, and they were really gutted. So yeah.
Oh, bless. Well,
so some sad news, but
there are some
positive things that we've picked up on that are happening in the world.
Yeah.
So that's great.
It's not all rosy, and it's worth acknowledging that there is some difficult times, but we try not to dwell on it too much. But you do need to be aware of these things.
Yeah.
But thank you. This is I think we're coming to the end of our short pause, but wanted to say thank you to everybody that's been listening. We're getting a nice little following. And if you want to find out more from us, we're on social media. We're on TikTok and on Instagram. And if you want to join in and give us any feedback or get in touch about any ideas you have, you can do that through the socials, or you can email us at pawsbetweenus@gmail.com. And then we look forward to bringing you another episode next week, when we said at the start, me and Sacha meeting in person. We're having a lovely girly weekend with all of our gang, our old gang from back in the day at school. We're having a little get together. But yeah, we'll be interviewing one of our friends. Sash, do you want to say a little bit about what we're going to be talking to Katie about?
Yeah, so one of our dear friends, Katie, we've known for a long time. And we want to have a chat to Katie about why she doesn't have pets, and whether or not through having a chat with her we could convince her to get one. So she has 2 young kids, but they're getting a little bit older now, so feels like it could be a good time to talk about introducing a cat or a hamster, or maybe even a dog.
She was quite taken with Laura's episode. She messaged me saying she's almost tempted to get hamster. So hey,
indeed,
maybe that's our line of attack.
Yeah, so we're going to try and persuade our friend Katie. Katie, if you're listening, you better be ready for next week, because we're going to try and persuade you to think about getting a pet. And we want to know if by the end of our chat we have kind of
moved the dial at all.
Yeah, we've moved the dial. And we're intrigued. So we look forward to having a chat with Katie next week. And maybe if there's other people out there that are thinking about getting a pet and not sure, maybe they can listen in too and see if we can convince them.
That's the end of the short pause. Thank you for listening in. It's been great chatting to you. Hope you've enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you. See you next time. Take care.
See you soon, Sash. Bye.
See you soon, Nat.